Welcome to this week's episode of Bear Down Ballers. I'm your host, AJ BRAMLETT. Got my super producer, Ryan Wall, with me. We got our first look at our 2022-2023 Cats this past week in the exhibition game against Western Oregon. Ryan, what were your thoughts on that?
I thought they looked really good. They had six guys in double figures in that game. I feel like Azuolas Tabellas, he's been the guy that we've kind of wanted, and it seems like Arizona needs to take that step forward as like the main guy, and the leader of this team. I feel like he did. He wasn't just great on offense. I feel like his defense, he had a much higher effort level there. What'd you think of his play, AJ?
Yeah, I thought he obviously his offensive game, was great. Same thing we saw from him last year. But on defense, he was super aggressive. And, I think Tommy, I heard Tommy after the game kind of, tell him to tone it down a little bit, and not go for so many steals. But I like that. I like that Zoo when he's, trying to make plays on the defensive end, because when he gets steals, he can handle it, he can take it full court and really make other plays, exciting plays for the crowd, and then, make plays for his teammates as well. So that was a good sign that he's really committed on the defensive end this year. We're going to need him for sure to be a leader on that side of the floor. So I thought it was a good start for him, definitely.
Yeah, the next guy to me that is another guy, probably the second guy that needs to take the biggest step forward in order for Arizona to compete for that Pac-12 title is Pelle Larsson. I thought he was excellent. 12 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. He just seems like he was doing a little bit of everything. His passing seemed like it was a lot better. It seems like he was just a lot more involved in the offense. And as a whole, I wanted to ask you also is I got a sense they always run a fast pace last year offense,
Yeah.
but the other night, like in that expedition game, they seemed like they were just moving at a different, like even quicker pace, and it was just electric to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me start with Pella, though. I mean, I think, he's going to be a guy, even on the national scene this year, that people are going to start taking notice to, because people don't understand how big he actually is, man. He's a big dude out there. You know what I mean? He can handle the ball, he can pass, he can score. He's going to be super hyper aggressive this year, on the offensive end as well. So, I'm looking for really big things from Pella this year. And, the game against Western Oregon was a great start for him. And I can expect that to continue. As far as the pace goes, I mean, that's fun basketball, right? That's what the brand of basketball Tommy said he was going to play when he came to Arizona. Last year was, exceptionally fun to watch. And this year, those guys the guys that are back have another year under their belt. They know the offense. The new guys are still trying to fit, but, playing at that pace. And I thought you saw it even in that game. Western Oregon, they were playing well. They had some guys that were knocking down shots. They were hanging around, but that pace just got to them by the end of the game and wore them down. So I think that's what we're going to be able to do to a lot of teams this year with our fitness and just being able to sprint the court every time, especially with our bigs. Like Umar runs really well. Even Dylan Anderson, when he was in there for his few minutes, I thought was really productive, did a good job. So I think, pace is going to be a huge factor for us this year.
Yeah, speaking of Umar, he looked great in that starting spot where we'll see him every night. Hopefully this year, he had a double double. Looked really comfortable on the floor, a lot more than last year. It seems like the thing with Umar. It seems like every time I see him, I'm just more impressed. He shows something different, and he just continues to grow his game. What do you think of him, AJ?
The biggest thing I see with him is confidence and leadership. Like, you could tell that, I kind of went through this too. When I was at Arizona, is when you're in a role playing position and then you have to jump into a leadership position. Sometimes it's a little bit, difficult to do that, but it seems like for him, like it's been an easy transition. He's really taken the reins. And I think the things that, Ben and DT and CeeLo did last year, he's taken that and is going to build on that this year with his own kind of touch on the team. And, he's a really good player. He's slimmed down. You can tell he's a lot more athletic. He's running the court better. He's a little bit more bouncy. And, he finishes so well now under the basket. He doesn't rush as much as he used to last year. He's taking his time down there and really, doing a good job of knocking those baskets down when he's, planted underneath the basket there. So I love what I see from Umar so far, and I think he's going to have a huge year for us as well.
Yeah, well, you mentioned some of the newcomers, and let's start with the transfers. We saw two of them, Courtney Ramey, Cedric Henderson. They both were in action for the first time as Wildcats. What do you think of their performances?
I love Courtney, man. I think we're going to have, one of the most energetic backcourts in the nation this year for sure, with him and Kerr. I just love the way he plays. His energy on the defensive end after he makes a good play. The celebrations, all of that, I love. Like the guy that brings a super positive energy to the team. And he shot the ball well when he was open, made the right decisions, had a great pass. On the fast break. I think Tapella for the layup on the fast break where the ball really didn't touch the ground. And you can tell he's just a vet, man. He's a guy that's been through it, a guy that knows what high level college basketball is about. It's a really good pickup for us this year. He's a guy that's going to bring a ton to us this year.
Yeah, I thought Courtney, especially out of the two, Cedric did score. He scored 10 points. He was still really good. But yeah, I thought Courtney was just kind of a really good fit next to Kerr and
Absolutely.
Pella as he knocked down a three. That Arizona didn't shoot the ball well as a team. They were only 2 for 10 for the game, but it's the first game of the season. They're still getting their feet wet. I think Kerr looked a little bit rusty, but I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like do you think these first few games they can use this to kind of get their feet wet and get situated on the court?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Kerr, I think in this game particularly, he was really just trying to find guys and he wasn't being really aggressive on offense. Obviously, we're going to need him, to dictate and score more this year. And he has that ability to show that, all summer long with Team Estonia in the World Basket and all that. So he's going to be fine from that perspective. But I thought he did a good job of getting guys involved and, really passing the ball and sharing the ball and getting the team energy going. I think I really love Kerr, man. And this is another year. I think people are still kind of doubting whether he can do it or not. And he can do it. He's going to have a big year for us.
Yeah, I think Kerr is in another spot for Arizona where he's going to be asked to be, an even bigger leader than he was, last season. He's going to be asked to score more, and kind of lead that group every night. But three other freshmen made their debut. Three, kind of bigs, if you want to call them. We saw Henry, we saw Phillip, and we saw Dylan Anderson, as you mentioned earlier. What do you think of their play, and how do you think they fit in kind of to this group?
I think they're going to be great additions. Obviously, you can see it in the first game. There were some nerves there, some jitters, but I thought, I think Phillip is going to be a dynamic player for us once he settles in and kind of learns, where to pick his spots and how he can make plays because he's a super talented guy and at 6'8", 6'9", or whatever he is now. He's a guy that's going to be a game changer for us. And I thought it was good minutes for him. Henry, the same. I like him, man. I think Henry down low can provide a ton for us. He knows he has a knack for where the basketball is on rebounding. He's a good finisher in there. He really just battled and threw his body around in there, which I like to see. And then Dylan, I thought for his minutes he was super productive, man, and I was happy with what we got from him in that first game. He's a really big dude. He's going to take up space down there. If he can block shots and rebound and run the court, he's going to be a really good addition for us. And then I know you're probably going to mention this, but Kylan, I thought the minutes that Kylan played, and I was surprised to see him actually checking the game. I didn't know that he was going to be ready that quickly. But I thought he handled himself really well for being his first college game, and him not having played too much competitive basketball in the last since April. I thought that he handled the pressure really well with them, made some good decisions, and I was looking forward to seeing him get on the court more.
Yeah, for me, the biggest, if you look at the stat sheet and the box score, Kylan didn't really fill up any of
Yeah,
it too well. But to me, the biggest number that sticks out is the minutes. Like you said, he played 10 minutes, which is a lot for his first, competitive action in a lot of months here as he's been recovering from injury, like you said. But yeah, I mean, it was great to see him on the floor. And I was shocked along with you too. I didn't know how much of a role he was going to play, but yeah, it's going to be great to see him on the floor. Any
yeah.
any
I
other
mean,
fi- any other final thoughts too, like on this expedition game? I know it's not a legit game yet.
yeah, but I mean, it was just good to see the guys out there, and kind of see what you could see, kind of the framework of what the team is going to be like, what they can be, kind of their ceiling, what they need to work on. But I think I like this group of guys. You could tell that they have similar chemistry to the team that we had last year, which is a big key plus for them. And it's just fun. I like when the new guys come in, and like watching them develop. And this is going to be a year where we look back at the beginning of the season and we say, wow, man, look at how much Phillips developed. Look at Henry at the end of the year. Wow, Kylan's coming in and playing big minutes for us and crunch time minutes at the end of the year. I think there's just a lot of guys that are going to take huge jumps this year, and it's going to be a fun ride for us to watch.
How did this kind of compare to your previous expectations of like, because obviously we both were at the red and blue game, we saw them then, but that was against themselves. How did your expectations go from when this group was assembled a few months ago to kind of the first legit competition against an opposing school?
I thought they looked better than I expected, probably. I think, with the offense that we run, and it's so much read and react, and you have to know where guys are, and it's going to take some time for, all of the guys to learn, what spots and what guys like the ball where and things like that. But I thought overall they looked good. I really like the defensive energy and intensity from everybody who came on the court. That was the biggest thing for me. It was if we could be lockdown defenders like we were last year, that's going to be a huge, bonus for us all year long and keep us in games, even if we don't shoot the ball particularly well, from night to night. But I like the framework of the team. I think we got a chance to have a pretty special season. I think a little bit more than what people expect out of us.
Yeah, well, AJ, enough with that expedition game talk, and let's move on and talk about the real season. The 2022-2023 season is set to tip off when we're releasing this in just a day's time. Arizona starts their season on Monday, November 7th against Nicholas at home. Then on Friday they play Southern, and then the following Thursday they play Utah Tech. 3 home games before they go and play in the Maui Invitational. What are your expectations? Because obviously these first 3 matchups aren't very difficult, and Arizona should win with ease. But what do you expect to see on the floor?
Yeah, I think it's just like we talked about earlier. It's just an opportunity to get these guys, chemistry built. But you can't underestimate any of these teams, and they're going to be have to go play hard and take care of things on the court like they normally do. But I think it's going to be a good opportunity for the young guys to get some minutes. Really test some different lineups for Tommy and see what flows the best together. And then for guys like Zoo and Pella and even Kerr, I think to get his offense going a little bit before Maui starts. I think that's going to be a big opportunity for him. So, I expect us to win these games, but I'm excited to see what the young guys bring. Really.
Yeah, well, any other thoughts? Because we have a big time guest, a former 5-star recruit, Kylan Boswell, on the show today.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm excited about this one. I've been following Kylan, and my family's been following him since he was in high school and kind of following his journey. And I was happy to see him check into the game, the other night. Look forward to big things from him. So Kylan Boswell's next here on Bear Down Ballers. Right on. Welcome to Bear Down Ballers. One of my favorite additions to this year's Wildcat squad. A guy who's a competitor, been a winner, going to be a winner, guy that's going to make his mark on this Arizona program. Got to welcome into Bear Down Ballers, my man, Kylan Boswell. What's happening, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
We're doing really good, man. Appreciate you coming on with us today, speaking a little bit about your career and your time and your basketball career. So I'm gonna jump right in with you, man. I know that you're from Champaign, Illinois. So you're an Illinois guy. I'm originally from DeKalb, Illinois, up there in your area a
Gotcha.
little bit. So I know about Illinois basketball and growing up there a little bit. So can you talk about like growing up there as a kid and what kind of growing up in that Chicago and Champaign area did for you as a young Cooper coming up?
So definitely the Chicago way, how they play is totally different than the West Coast basketball.
Yeah.
More just toughness and stuff like that. Always outside and it's cold, so everybody's playing inside and stuff, over time. But no, I really, really miss Chicago basketball a little bit. It definitely helped my game a lot, having to work on your handle a lot more, a lot of better defenders, I would probably say so. But I mean, over time, I really like Chicago basketball, but I've gotten used to this West Coast basketball a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to have a tight handle in the shot. You already know
You
that. You got to be
definitely
able to handle
do.
it and be strong too, and take
Yeah,
take those hits, man.
yeah.
It provides a good foundation for you. So, I know you competed at the highest level of youth basketball. I mean, in a lot of places with stops at places like Centennial and AZ Compass Prep. Can you kind of talk about your journey as a youth player and how you developed, through those places and those stops there, and how it prepared you for your time coming to AZ?
Oh yeah, so I would definitely give a lot of credit to my dad. Me and him have always been in the gym together, just trying to get better every day. I never actually stayed at one high school for 1 year, so I was always trying to progress forward and forward.
Right.
So I was at Colony my first year, and then I moved up with Jared, Devin, Centennial, won state, and I went up to Compass my junior year. But like I said, I think each step for me was a progression step. Just getting better each day and feeling like my game was supposed to be at a different level. And I need to play at that different levels. But yeah, no, it's been a rocky, crazy journey for me in my high school career.
Absolutely. But stepping up in competition every time, man, and you respond to that every single place that you've been at, man. So
Thank you.
I'm gonna tell you, you're my youngest son's favorite player. You know, when you're up there for the red blue, you took a
Yeah.
picture with him. He still got that. You know,
Yeah.
that's one of his prized possessions right there. And so I just say he's been following you, you know, through your high school journey. And you know, I wanted to ask you about, you know, your time at Centennial with Jared McCain, because that's another one of his favorite players. And you know, talk about kind of that role that you guys had together, and if you've talked about, you know, that matchup coming up, you know, probably next year over there. I know that's
Yeah.
already started, so you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying. I
yeah.
want to get a little background on that.
No, I have that date scheduled. I got it circled. I'm ready for that Duke game next year. No, but no, that's my guy. I love Jared. He actually helped me in my like motivational stuff when I got there because he was one of the hardest workers I've ever seen. He definitely pushed me and I pushed him when we first got there. But no, yeah, everything he does with TikTok and stuff, like he knows how to just separate everything, which I kind of really respect. He makes sure he takes care of his stuff off the court and stuff when he's on the court, as you guys can see, he takes care of business. But yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite players.
Good, man. So I'm going to ask you this, and Drew, that's my youngest son. He asked me to ask you, who was the toughest player that you played against during your high school career, and including UIBL?
Robert Dillingham. It's not even close.
Not even close. Ooh.
It's Robert.
Okay, but expand on that a little bit. Why?
It's out of, I feel like either Robert or Simeon Wilcher, one of the two. They're the hardest two players to guard, I feel like, in that high school basketball realm. Robert is just ridiculously shifty, super athletic, super quick, explosive first step, knockdown jump shot. He's a great finisher. He can create for everybody. But without a doubt, it's definitely Rob. He's just one of the best players in high school.
Yeah, he's nice. I mean,
he's very nice.
He's very nice. So can you talk to kind of the young players out there who have the same dream as you, that play at the high level of college basketball and, you know, be at the high level of high school basketball as well, about what the recruiting process was like for you? I know you were highly recruited. You kind of cut your last three down. I think UNLV, Illinois, and then U of A. So can you talk about that process a little bit, and then talk about why Arizona and why you decided to become a Wildcat at the end of the day?
If I would say a few things about younger players playing and that are going to start getting recruited, I definitely say take your time with this process. I'm starting to see a lot of players that are younger now, stuff commit really early. I mean, of course, that's their decision stuff. I would always say take your time. I would take all your visits, look at what you want, kind of narrow down what programs you feel like are the best fits. Watch film on previous coaches that you enjoy or you think you can play for. And then I would also say pretty much just be grateful for any opportunity that comes. I know for me, I was unranked before going into Section 7, and then I had like 9 offers after that tournament. So always like keeping your head down, working. But the minute I came to U of A, it felt like home, if I'm going to be serious. I came to a few games, and I think I knew that I wanted to come here was after the UCLA game when they had the blue sticks and everybody was that the environment here in Tucson is crazy. How much the Tucson really loves their U of A basketball and how much they support it is just something you're not going to find pretty often. And then the coaching staff is just an unbelievable coaching staff. It's almost like a surreal experience because you're not going to find coaches that actually care about you. They're going to help you get better each and every day. But the minute I talked to Tommy at Section 7, I just loved his agenda. He told me what he had plans for me in the beginning, and no coach was even coming at me with that type of aggression to have me come to the program. So he's always felt like home for me.
Absolutely. Tommy's a special guy, man. You got a good coach there, looks out for you, going to develop you and get you in that right position for what you want to do after you leave U of A. But you know, when I was in Tucson at the Red Blue game and saw you, and you know, you were kind of still working through your rehab and weren't able to do a whole lot on the court. And then when I saw you check in the other night against Western Oregon, I was like, oh man, he's already back. And, you know, me and my boys were hyped seeing you out there on the court already. Like, how were you, you know, able to recover that quickly and be ready to go when people were kind of projecting you coming back mid-year or whatever, and you're already back out there, you know, getting minutes?
So yeah, when we were first coming out of this surgery and stuff, nobody, myself personally, I was not thinking I was coming back anytime soon. There was no way I was coming back. But just, I'd say consistently working with Justin Kukowski and Chris Rounds every single day to make sure my rehab is getting done. He gave me this bone stimulator that helps produce the bone growth in my foot. Been making sure I'm getting the rehab done, like I said. Been doing some pull work, as I think you guys saw on Twitter and stuff. But I've been constantly just making sure I get my foot healthy, making sure I get my enough rest so my foot doesn't have any pain. But the process, I don't know. It just everything happened quicker than we expected. And they still have me on restricted minutes right now. You know, they don't want to really push me too much too fast, but they wanted to just throw me out there, get the rust off, and it felt good to be out there again.
Well, that's what I was going to say, man. It's like, I know you're the youngest player in college basketball. Everyone's talking about that a lot, and that's a badge of honor, I'm sure, for you. To be there when a lot of guys are, reclassing or holding back.
Yeah.
You're going up. You know what I mean? Which I love to see. But the other night, I thought when you got in there, you handled the pressure really well. I mean, you handled traps. You made all the right basketball decisions. You look like an older player out there. Like, how did you feel in your first minutes out there on the court? At McCarroll?
So when Tommy called me, I did not expect him to call me to come get it. My heart was pounding out my chest. I was nervous as hell checking into that game. But I don't know. The minute I got on the court, it just felt like, I've been here before. I've played basketball for so many years now. I've been in games, high pressure situations. This is just another game for me. And then when I touched the ball, everything just came back, really. I felt comfortable within myself. It's still a lot for me to work on. I'm nowhere near where I was and trying to work to get to that point every day. But I think I felt like I did decently. I did pretty well. I was just really my main focus was playing really hard on defense and giving maximum effort while I was on the court. But no, we beat the brakes off them like we were supposed to do. Got the job done. But yeah, I just feel like I need to practice some more, play some more. I feel like I just get more into my groove. Right now, it's just repeat myself. Right now, it's just major getting my confidence back up and just stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought you looked good, man. For real, I thought you handled it really well for your first time out there. So, I had Courtney Ramey on last week, and I kind of talked to him about the same thing. But I talked to him about being a point guard at Arizona and how that carries a lot of expectations just because of the history of the program. With guys like JT, you know what I'm saying, Jason, your coach Jason Gardner there, David Stoudemire, Jared Bayless, guys like that. Like you're now part of that tradition. Like, what does that mean to you? And how do you see yourself putting kind of your own mark on the program and, as you go through your time there at AZ?
When I first got here, I didn't, I'm kind of new to the situation. I'm not really realizing how much specifically point guards at the University of Arizona means to this program. Right. But I've been doing some more history. I feel like it's good for people to learn about the history of their college, figuring out that stuff like that. And there's been a lot of great point guards that came through this university. So yeah, stepping every day on the court as an Arizona point guard, personally, I feel like has a load on itself. But I feel like I have the capability of carrying that load and performing throughout these next whatever time frame I may be here.
Absolutely, man. I think you're definitely in the right spot. So,
definitely.
Is there a single player or players that you kind of modeled your game after growing up? Who did you follow? Like, who did you kind of mold your game after?
So me and my dad watched Stephen Curry's shot. I feel like that's who I got my shot from. We've always watched like Chris Paul. I always feel like his decision making on the court. And then more recently, I've been watching Trae Young. So I feel like if I do go to the NBA, I'm more of a Trae Young type of point guard. Deep shooting threes, making decisions off pick and roll. I feel like that's a lot of the point guards that are our height now. That's really our roles are. But that's probably three players I'd say I watch a lot.
Yeah, all three good ones, man. All three good ones. Yeah. And one of the things that I really like about you, obviously you're a great shooter. You handle the ball really well, but is your competitiveness on the defensive end, man? Like, have you always been like that, or is that something you developed over the years? Like, where does that dog come from in you?
So coming over the years, I feel like I've developed that more and more. I don't know. I take defense, I think, with more pride than some people. It's really important to me, and especially how people have noticed it and they're saying, I'm an excellent on-ball defender and stuff. I want to make sure that's the standard, and I make sure I keep that standard throughout my career. So yeah, I just come with a different mentality on defense. With my foot right now, it kind of sucks because my feet are a little slow with certain things, but over time I'll get it back.
Yeah, for sure, man. But that's a huge thing. It's always going to get you playing time. You always know that.
Yeah, definitely.
Locked down. That's why I did a lot of my damage there at U of A too. So has been the biggest surprise for you, whether on the court or off the court, and during your time in Tucson so far? Or has there been any?
I didn't realize how much focus and detail goes into basketball and college basketball level. Within the scouting reports, within the lifting, within the actual practices, everything's kind of the same with school and then all of that. But with actual basketball, it takes a lot more focus and detail in order to be successful in college basketball, which was something new to me, and I didn't realize how serious it was. But I've gotten more adjusted to it and gotten more accustomed to it.
Yeah, that's crazy to think because I mean you came from the highest level of youth basketball programs and competitive basketball programs, and even higher level once you got to U of A. That's good.
It's a different
man.
level.
Yeah, you're built for it, man. You're built for it. So, all right, I'm gonna ask you a few things about yourself, personal life, pregame playlist. What's on it right now? What'd you listen to right before the first game the other night? What gets you hyped?
Okay, so I'm a little weird with my music. I like old school jams personally. I'm a big Aaliyah guy.
Okay.
Bone Thugs and Harmony. I'll put
Oh
on.
yes, sir. That's my favorite group of all time. So we ride it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Careless Whisper. Like I like to listen to weird music like that. And then literally right before game time starts, I just have a Future playlist. It's just old hits of his, like March Madness, Diamonds Dancing, stuff like that. So majority like before pregame, I listen to old school music, and then right before I get on the court, I'll listen to some Future, and then that's pretty much it.
Solid, man. Solid. I like it. I like it. All right, so let me go with this. Favorite food then.
Favorite food here?
Favorite food in Tucson so far?
It's either Nudi's pasta or is Momo's Mexican.
Momo's, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Favorite TV show right now? Favorite TV
Friends.
show? Friends of all time? Oh wow,
I'm a sitcom guy.
You're an old soul, man. I like that.
I really am.
Favorite movie?
Good Will Hunting.
All right, yeah, for sure, man. You're my hero, bro. All right, so last one I got for you, and I'll let you get out of here, man. I saw last week you guys had a special guest come by practice. Rob Gronkowski. I don't know if you got to sit with them, and absolute legend in Arizona, obviously, just in football in general. But what was that like to meet Gronk? And did he have a message for you guys this year? Like, what was that all about?
He was just telling us really the main aspect of being successful is a team, basically. I mean, that team mentality, nothing personal, nothing. Everybody's for each other, not selfish. Everybody's selfless. That was really his main points. Being able to talk to one of the greatest tight ends of all time, one of the best winners of all time, it's really cool to see somebody else's perspective because everybody in this sports industry, we all have different routes and stuff. We all do different type of training methods, but we all take it as serious as everybody else. Like we're all trying to be successful. So it's really cool to get talk to somebody else who's taking as serious as I take basketball in their aspect and being successful in it too. You can always learn new things and new techniques to help yourself. And it was great talking to him. And that man is a freaking beast. His Achilles was as big as my hands. And I was like, God dang.
And that's coming from you. That's coming from you. You're a big dude too.
I thought I had some thick legs. That man has a monster.
Well, man. Well, I look forward to you doing a lot of winning at U of A during your time there. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to hop on Bear Down Ballers, man. I'll check you out this year, coming over for a couple games, and all the best to you, man. You're going to have a really successful career there in Arizona. So
of course. I appreciate you guys having me.
No problem. Talk to you later, man.
All right, man.
Bear down.